Namaste. So today's video is sort of going to be like an introduction to the new things that I had mentioned in my previous videos that I wanted to talk about. So I've recorded this already twice and each time I talked for 20 to 30 minutes. But I figured, I'll just go ahead and do this one more time, and however it comes out, that's what I'm going to upload. So basically, it's the introduction as to why I've changed some things up, and why I would like to incorporate, or I will be incorporating new topics, new ideas onto my channel. So from the very beginning, here we go. Late 2012, early 2013, it seems like there was a lot going on in my life during those years. But this particular event, I had been having a lot of issues with my health. And prior to me realizing that I was having a lot of issues with my health, I had been suffering from very bad headaches. I would not necessarily call them migraines, because for the most part, I was still able to function. So I wouldn't call them migraines. I would just call them really bad headaches. I've been suffering from headaches for a very, very long time. And it was to the point where headaches were just a part of my life. Like every day or every other day, me waking up with a headache was not something out of the ordinary. So this particular time when I really started paying attention, I was sitting on the couch watching a movie. I was watching Hunger Games, the first one, and I started to have this numbing wave that would cast all over my body, starting from the top, and it went all the way down. So it started. It only happened a few times, but it started from my head or my forehead, and it would just slowly go down my eyes, my eyelids, my eyeballs, down to my cheekbones, to my cheeks, to my lips, to my tongue, to my throat, all the way down to my feet. The numbing was like a wave, and while it was going on in my body, it was more so what's going on. I was thinking, what is really going on right now, and am I going numb, or is this something else that's going on with my body? And I was just sitting there, and I was just trying to absorb and observe and absorb what was going on with me, to try to figure out exactly what it was. Now, I do want to mention that this day I did have a headache. So I was sitting on the couch with the person that I was in a relationship with at the time, and I didn't mention anything to them, because I'm just like, I'm just trying to evaluate what's going on with my body. It was over maybe like 2 or 3 minutes. It didn't last very long at all, and I think two or 3 minutes is probably a little bit too long. But when you're having some abnormal feelings, it could feel, and you don't know what it is, it could feel like forever. But whatever it was, it didn't last long. We had plans to go hang out with some friends and go eat later on this Saturday. I remember it was a Saturday, later on this Saturday. I was thinking to myself, well, I have a headache, but like I said, this isn't anything out of the ordinary for me to have a headache. So I didn't think much about it. As we're getting ready to go out, my headache is starting to get a little bit worse, but I contributed it to me not really eating a lot of food. I was just munching here and there. I had breakfast, but lunch, it wasn't really a lunch. It was just like nibbling off of some food here and snacking there. So I'm just thinking, okay, it's time for me to eat. And I was trying to save my appetite, because we were going to a sushi restaurant, and I was really looking forward to trying a lot of different sushi rolls. So I didn't really want to eat a lot of food. It's not smart, but that is what was going on at this particular time. Okay, so we're leaving the house, and on the way there, I eat a Nutri-Grain bar, because I'm like, I really need to get something on my stomach, because my head is really starting to hurt. It was starting to hurt to the point where I was kind of feeling lightheaded a little bit. But again, I contributed to me not having a real lunch and me just really being hungry. So we're on the way there. I wasn't driving, I was in the passenger seat. And I just kept thinking, like, my head is killing me. It is just killing me. But I'm trying to stay positive. Again, I hadn't mentioned anything to the person I was with at the time. And so we're going, and right before we get there, I'm just like, I'm telling myself, just hang in there, just hang in there. Once you get some food in your stomach, you'll feel so much better. And then finally, I couldn't take it. I told the person, I was like, I don't feel good at all. And so they asked, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to go home or do you want to stay? And I was like, well, we drove all this way. It was a 45-minute drive, and we were meeting a whole bunch of friends. So, once I get some food, I think I'll be okay. So I sat there for a minute. I was like, and I don't remember exactly, but I remember I was crying. And so by this time, the friends that we were meeting came up to the car, and my person was like, no, we're getting ready to go home. She's not feeling good. We're just getting ready to go. So a lot of the next stuff that happened, I don't fully remember. The parts that I do remember was, I don't know if I started freaking out or whatever, because I didn't know what was going on with me. So I remember that my person at the time was asking me a lot of questions, like just asking me questions and asking me to repeat what they were saying. And for whatever reason, I could not repeat. It was a simple sentence. Like, I remember something about a blue jay, and I couldn't repeat it. I remember mumbling and stumbling and being very confused as to why I couldn't talk. So the next thing I knew, they were on the phone with the ambulance, or with 911. They sent out an ambulance. Pulled over into a business complex. So then the ambulance came and picked me up, took me to the hospital. There they asked me a whole bunch of questions. Had I taken any recreational drugs, and just all types of questions, trying to narrow down why whatever was going on was going on. I finally got to the hospital. They did some EKGs, or a EKG. They tested my heart. They hooked me up to some saline. And then they gave me a CAT scan, because I had been telling them that my head was pounding. Now, I had had several CAT scans before, or I had a CAT scan like in 2006, and then an MRI of the brain with and without contrast. I don't remember, like 2011. So me having headaches and me verbalizing this with my doctor was not something new. So when I got the CAT scan on my brain, I'm thinking to myself, you're not going to find anything, but I guess it's protocol. And I guess they thought that I was having a heart attack. And I honestly thought I was having a heart attack too, especially when I couldn't repeat the sentence. Oh, and then I tried to lift my hand and I couldn't. Like, I tried to lift my arms and I couldn't lift my arms. So I think it was a combination of me freaking myself out, and even to this day, I don't know what was going on with me. I really don't. Whatever the episode was, I don't know what it was. It was not a heart attack. It was not a stroke. It wasn't anything cardiovascular related. So fast forward, the test that they ran basically said that I had low potassium. I didn't believe it. I'm like, this is some bullshit. So either way, even though, despite that, I started eating, or I went out and bought some bananas, because like, low potassium, okay, that means I need to uptake my banana intake, or that a food that is high in potassium, which is a banana. So got some bananas, and then it happened on a Saturday, so I was not able to talk or see my doctor. And Sunday was fine. It was just the day of resting. Monday went to work like normal. And I don't know if it was a Monday or Tuesday, but it was early in the week, and it was really recent after the episode had happened. I was at work, I was at my desk, and then I remember having that feeling all over again, but this time it started in my mouth, my lips, and in my mouth and in my throat. And when I was having the numbness in my throat and I was talking, I felt like my voice sounded different. And I don't know if that was the case or not, but so I called my person, and they picked me up from work. We went to the doctor's office. Luckily, they were able to see me that day. They ran some blood tests, asked me a whole bunch of family history questions, more so than my typical yearly checkup. A couple weeks later, the blood results came back that I have an autoimmune deficiency. And I forget the numbers, but the acronym is SLE. That's S as in Sam, L as in Larry, E as in Echo, SLE. So that number, again, it was such a long time ago, so I don't really remember it. I haven't really looked at it since to be able to cite it. But those numbers came back on the low end of positive. So again, I don't remember the numbers, but let's say the number for positive starts at 50 and it goes up to maybe 300. My number was like 51, 52. So when I was looking at that, I'm like, no, I don't really have it. Whatever it is, I don't really have it. Whatever this autoimmune deficiency is, I don't, whatever. So then I started reading up on what autoimmune deficiency is, and it's basically your body starts attacking itself for whatever reason, and you have flare-ups every so often. And the particular autoimmune deficiency that I was given the label for is lupus. And when I heard it, I was like, that can't be right. Like, no, no, that's not right. That's not me. I don't have that. But after talking to my mom and after talking to my dad, I found that my aunt had lupus, and she also had diabetes, and she's no longer with us. Now, she did not pass, I don't think, from the lupus. I think it might have been complications from her diabetes, but it's my aunt on my father's side, and I don't talk to my father's side all that much, so I don't really know. And then I think it's just the thing that a lot of older Black families just don't talk about the issues as far as the health issues. So I don't really know. But to try to keep this video short, I'm at 8 minutes, so I'm doing good. So after all of that, I talked to the doctor, and I did let her know that I had an aunt who had lupus, so she referred me to a rheumatologist just to run some more tests, just to confirm, because they only did what they could do. So she referred me to an expert, and the rheumatologist did the same blood test, asked me a whole bunch of questions, and the numbers came back the same on the low end of positive. And so I asked her, well, what is it that I can do? And at the time, I was not having any symptoms. So there's not like a preventative pill for you to take. You just have to treat the symptoms when you get them. And I wasn't having any symptoms, so there's nothing to treat. And there's no cure. So, and then she also said, I'm not going to just give you a pill, because the medication that you take to relieve from the symptoms is and can be as strong as chemo. She was like, you're too young, and I'm not going to do that to you. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want to take any drug that's as strong as chemo. But what the rheumatologist said, as well as my primary, basically said that you're young, you're healthy, just make sure that you continue living a healthy lifestyle with the foods that you eat, exercise regularly, and just be mindful of the stress. So I really started thinking about everything that I was doing, everything that I was eating. I made a vow to no longer let stress overcome me, and so I started working out. I was doing weight training. I was running every other day, and then I started doing yoga on the days that I was not doing weight training. And on Saturdays, I would run 5 miles, do an hour of weight training, and do an hour of yoga. So during that time, I was in the best shape of my life. Like, I was in the best shape. I'm gonna find pictures. While I was really concentrating on making my body healthy, I started falling in love with everything that has to do with your body and healing your body naturally through movement, and not taking drugs, over-the-counter medicines, prescribed medicines, because all they're doing is treating the symptom. They're not curing anything. It's just a band-aid on something that's wrong. So while I was doing all of that, I felt so much better. I felt like I slept better. I thought my mind was clearer. I didn't have headaches anymore. So it's like, this shit is like the best kept secret ever. And like I said, my diet changed. So I stopped eating fried foods, and I slowly started tapering off of pork and beef. And now today, I don't eat any land animals or any land animal byproducts. So if it cannot be grown out of the ground and does not come from the ocean, I don't eat it. So that kind of gives you a better idea when I say no land animals or byproducts of land animals. And that literally means everything. It's a lot of byproducts of animals that a lot of us don't really know about, but that's another video at another time. So yeah, I started feeling a lot better, and I fell in love with just the art of movement and it healing your body. And I decided that I wanted to become a physical therapist. Like, that's basically what physical therapy, occupational therapy is all about. Healing your body with simple movements. And of course, it's a little bit more complex than that, but that's really the gist of it. So again, I wanted to become a physical therapist, so I started going back to school. And along with wanting to be a physical therapist, like, the whole thing of yoga really started taking root within me. And it almost felt like a natural little drug or high that I would get anytime that I practiced yoga. And when I started practicing with an app. Like, I downloaded a free app, and the longest yoga session on the app was like 20 or 30 minutes. So I was thinking to myself, if I'm getting this feeling from a little 30-minute video or instruction on an app, I wonder what it's like to actually do more. So I started doing P90X, and I did the P90X yoga thing. It's like an hour and a half. The first time I did it, I don't even think I got through the whole thing. But the more I worked out, the more I did weight training, the more I increased my cardio by running. And the more I did the video, I was able to get through the whole thing and not be winded and not be tired. So I'm like, there is something to this that I need to know more about it. To make a long story short, I became a certified yoga instructor. With incorporating or with learning more about yoga in the way it makes you feel, without taking drugs or without putting anything in your body, it makes you feel good. It's something that I want to share with everybody. So that is really one of the main reasons why my channel is not always going to be about hair, and the videos that I post are not always going to be about hair. So if you see them, just know this is the reason why. I've given you the introduction, I've given you the story, the background as to why you'll start seeing stuff like that. It might be a yoga practice, it might just me talking about yoga in general, or just giving some inspirational words that I might have read or I learned from my Swami or from my guru. So, we'll see how it goes. But I did want to give my little introduction on what's to come. So, until the next video, namaste. And namaste means the light in me honors the light in you. So when you hear that, knowing the definition, maybe it will mean a little bit more to you. Namaste.